Well, good evening, everybody, and you're very welcome to my garden. You're very welcome to my channel. And before I begin, if you want to stay updated on posts, if you want to follow me, click the like button down below or subscribe to the channel. And that way you'll be alerted if I post anything of interest. I'm wearing a t-shirt tonight, not because it's just a beautiful evening, which it is, but I'm wearing it out of comfort, which leads into something I want to talk about. I was listening to the Joe Duffy Live Line show this afternoon on RT Radio 1, and there was somewhat of a debate going on regarding a particular medication that's in short supply that is generally prescribed to people with type 2 diabetes. However, in more recent times, and it has made headlines predominantly in places like Hollywood, that this drug can also impact or greatly encourage people who are looking to lose weight. Yeah, that's the topic. Weight, living with weight, or to give it its clinical term, living with obesity. Now, I am considered morbidly obese. Now, we've all heard the terms like fat, overweight. To the person who is living with that, it's not a very nice thing to hear. It's not as if we're stupid. We kind of know these things. But morbidly obese was a new one for me. I was sent to a consultant, referred to a consultant, about 3 years ago. Actually more. 4 years ago now. Because I had, or I still have, what's called an umbilical hernia. And, knowing the dangers that surround having hernias if they twist and all that, they can cause potentially life-threatening issues. So I sent to this consultant who I was told, top of his game, good surgeon, he'll figure it all out. So there was a bit of intrepidation because who the hell wants to voluntarily go for surgery? But I knew it had to be sorted. So I'm in his waiting room, then I'm called in. And before I could get the opportunity to even say hello, he said, "Do you know that you're morbidly obese?" I said, "I beg your pardon?" "Do you know you're morbidly obese and I can save your life?" And I'm actually, no, I'm normally not stuck for words, but I was stuck for words. I said, "Doctor," I said, "what exactly are you on about?" "Your weight, your size. You're overweight. You're morbidly obese. That's the clinical term." So I thought quickly on my feet and I said, "Well, doctor, actually, I came here for a consultation, not an insultation. In fact, I came here for a consultation about a hernia. Yeah, but forget about that. Let me show you something." And before I knew what I was doing, here he was showing me a video about bariatric surgery and a particular procedure. "Now," he said, "I can do that for you. That'll save your life." And again, I'm perplexed because that's not what I went in for. And then he said, "Your records say you have MS." And then he said, "What did you come in here for?" So once again, it was a situation where the clinician wasn't listening to the patient. Anybody that knows me knows that I've carried weight all of my life. Now, I can go back to around 1989. Yeah, I suppose I was fully grown in height at that stage. But I was carrying weight, yeah. I knew I was. But that didn't stop me. I was a lot fitter than what I looked. But I was introduced to basketball. And I loved it. I became addicted to basketball. I couldn't get enough. Most people go training once a week. I wanted to go training every night of the week and every day too. And over a period of time, I did get very fit. In fact, I got my weight down to 12 stone 2, which for me, at age 17, that wasn't bad. Then I went away to college, I went to seminary, and that's where things started to go radically wrong. I'll talk about that in another video, but there was a lot of stuff happened to me there that wasn't particularly nice. Anyway, the weight just piled on. I suppose I lost my graw for life. I lost my passion to be exercising outdoors, to be playing basketball or whatever. Now, I'm going to fast forward to when I was diagnosed with MS. Now, at that stage, my weight was in kilograms, about 130 kilos. Don't even ask me to convert that into stones and pounds and all that, but anyway. When I was diagnosed with MS, and I had spoken about in a previous video how I needed to be fit enough to care for Mum, I felt my metabolism wasn't quite right, and without being too grotesque, let's say I was paying a lot of visits to the bathroom. So somebody said to me, well, is there a chance you're celiac? I said, am I what? Celiac. You're allergic to gluten. I said, I don't know, but look, we'll see. So I tried gluten-free bread and gluten-free products. I got a new dog around that time as well. So I started taking to walking on the country. And I started to lose weight. God, I was shocked. Oh my, I was probably losing maybe 2 or 3 kilos a month. I wasn't even trying now. This is just what has started to happen. But then it started to pile on again. And I was still on the same diet. And I couldn't figure this out. So I remember being referred to a dietitian, and he asked me to write down what my daily food content was, and I wrote it down. And he had to look at it a few times, and he said, are you being honest? I said, I have no reason to be dishonest. Why? He said, Darrell, you're not eating too much. In fact, I don't think you're eating enough. And I said, would you have one look at me? The pounds are piling on, and you're telling me I'm not eating enough? Anyway, that was then. Now, I'm up around 164 kilos. And I'm not happy. You can see it in my face. I'm not even going to show you my tummy area here. I've never been this size in my life. I came off the hormone replacement therapy drugs because I knew they were impacting me. Hasn't changed my weight though, not that I thought it would. I'm watching what I eat. I'm trying to exercise, but it's a double-edged sword because with the MS, it affects my mobility. And I'm willing to try anything. I'll do anything to lose weight. But what, I suppose, this epiphany moment happened not so long ago. I'm going to say just after Mum died. And I was listening to a talk, and they spoke about obesity as a disease. So the bell started ringing. So there's actually more to this than just stepping away from the table, as people are fond to tell you. Or, don't be so lazy, just get out there and exercise, it'll fall off you. There's actually a clinical term to all of this. There is clinical reasoning. It's a disease. And I'm like, okay, I don't want a disease, but it appears I may have one, a second one. So I asked to be referred to a weight management centre. Now, there is only one weight management centre for the whole of Ireland, and that's in St. Columkille's Hospital in Loughlinstown, County Dublin. But here's the problem. There's a 3 to 4 year, that's what I said, not months, 3 to 4 year waiting list to even be seen by somebody. Now, that's a bit scary when all the time you're hearing, people that carry excess weight, they're in danger of developing type 2 diabetes, they're at a higher risk for stroke and heart attack and whatever else, cancer even. And yet the best we have in this country is a 3 or 4 year waiting list to be seen. Not for action, just to be seen. I mean, even then you're wondering, will you actually be heard? Well, now, last year I got a consultation with a professor in Galway University Hospital, and he specialises in weight management. So I travelled to Galway for the appointment, had to wait a couple of hours. He was busy, that didn't bother me. And then his registrar came to see me and went through a number of questions. I had to fill in forms prior to that and send them on by email. And then the professor came in to see me, and he was absolutely lovely. And the first thing he did, he said, "Dara, we're not into body shaming here. We're not in here to pass insults. Because what you have is not your fault. It's more than likely genetic, but it certainly is a disease." Now, that in of itself was just powerful. Because I hadn't asked the question, but the question was answered. He cared. So he asked me to participate in a group exercise with Clown, which is CLANN, which is run by Cree in Galway University Hospital, regarding healthy hearts and all that. And I took part in that. It was done on Zoom, online, and quite a number of participants on it. And then when the course finished, then we would get an appointment to go back and see the professor. And the time went on. And then I received the appointment to see him, but actually coincided with my mother's first anniversary. I couldn't do it. I had a mass organised here. I had people coming to it. There's no way. I wasn't in the right headspace to do all that. The reason for the consultation, as I discovered from other members of that course, is that they were going to be prescribed Ozempic. Now, that's the drug that was being debated earlier today on Liveline with Joe Duffy. Ozempic. Ozempic comes in the form of like a pen. The only difference is at the end of the pen, you don't write with it. It's a very fine needle that you inject into yourself once a week. You inject 1 milligram of this. And it turns out actually that I had tried it without realizing it about 3.5 years ago. When I didn't get on too well with that consultant surgeon, I went to see an endocrinologist, and he prescribed me this drug, but it was under a different brand name, so that's why it didn't click. He just prescribed it to me. He said, "Try it out. It should work." The thing is, he didn't say, read what's written about it with regard to your eating habits. He said nothing about that. He said, just try it. And I did. I tried it, and I got violently sick. I got so sick that my GP took me off it. He said, "It's not agreeing with you." What I discovered from the other group members that did the course in Galway is that the professor there gave them literature which contained all the different details about the foods you can eat, the foods to avoid, how to make whatever lifestyle changes that are necessary. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get up to Galway to see this man. But it seems to be a game changer. The other alternatives to taking medicine to help you lose weight is bariatric surgery. It's a big deal. The surgery itself, I'm led to believe, takes an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's done through laparoscopic, where they put little holes into your tummy. I'm not going to get into that. But the vast majority of bariatric surgery is irreversible, okay? And that's fine if that's what you choose to do. But what if you're not a candidate for surgery? What if your body mass index, the infamous BMI, is so high? Now, one of the issues I have is that I've got an issue here with my thyroid. And this just turned up just over 2.5 years ago in a scan. I was having an MRI scan for my MS. I get 2 of those a year. And they spotted something in my thyroid. So I was sent for a biopsy. I was sent for a second biopsy. I was sent for a third biopsy. And they said, yeah, they had found what they called a nodule, and that it was 30 millimeters in size, 3 centimeters in all money. And the cells really didn't give a solid picture. It was a 50-50 chance of whether it's cancer. Okay. So they referred me to a consultant surgeon, and he had a look at me and he had a chat with me, and he said, Daryl, if it's not above 60% certainty, I wouldn't be going in to operate, because it's a very dangerous procedure. He said, it's not going to kill you, but the side effects, it could harm your voice. It could affect your vocal cords, because where we would be operating, there's so much stuff inside there that one little nick in the wrong direction and it could affect your voice. And where would it be without my singing voice? So time passed, and I just wasn't happy with this hanging around bit. So my GP sent me to another consultant. He's a professor, and he's younger than me. I mean, I'm only 50. Jeez, there are professors younger than me. Where did I go wrong? Don't even start me. Anyway, this professor sent me for an ultrasound, and this nodule had grown in size from 30 millimeters to 45 millimeters. So that's 3 centimeters to 4.5 centimeters. And he said the markers, because it has increased that in that size, he said the markers aren't really good. Because if it was an inactive, benign nodule, it really wouldn't have increased in size. But because they're what they call funicular cells and all the rest, that the prudent thing to do now is to have either a partial or a full thyroidectomy, where they take out either part of the thyroid or the full thyroid. But the problem is, I'm so heavy, I'm at excuse me, I'm at higher risk. And to put it in a nutshell, I'm at a higher risk for bleeding. Now, he sent me to the physio department in a particular hospital, and they wanted to do a fitness check on me to see was I fit enough for surgery. And they couldn't get over the fact that I was able to almost jog up and down, over and back the floor space, getting my heart rate up, letting my heart rate come down. And even when I go in to get infusions for MS, it defies the clinicians, because my blood pressure is normal. My obs, my heart rate, everything is normal. Yet you look at me and you're thinking, sure, he's a fat slob. Sure, his blood pressure's over the hill. It's not. But surgery carries risk. All surgeries do. But what's happening right now, and I think it's dangerous, is drawing people into a debate about who should get what medications. You see, there's a shortage of Ozempic, not just in Ireland, right around the world. A lot of this fueled from the celebrity impact. But people shouldn't be drawn into a debate. I think what we should be drawn into is finding solutions. I watched a video last night about the NHS, and particularly the NHS Trust in London. And there was a bariatric surgeon, as it turned out, talking, and he said, dealing and helping to cure people of obesity would save the NHS an absolute fortune of money. And why? Well, people who are obese. Now, obese is ranked on your body mass index, so if you're over a certain level, and then if you're over another level, you're morbidly obese. Welcome to my world. But people who are in that obesity category are at a much higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, much higher risk of developing congenital heart disease, much higher level of getting a stroke, acquiring cancer. There's a lot of negatives to carrying excess weight. But, here's the but. Where's the investment in our health services? As this doctor said, a bariatric procedure would cost the NHS in England approximately £6,000. One-off procedure. However, the ongoing treatments and medications that people receive for type 2 diabetes, for heart disease, for cancers, whatever, can go into multiples of tens of thousands of pounds every year. So do the math. So let's talk about Ireland. We're in a sorry state, I gotta be honest. I've often asked the question, where does all the money go? Every year at budget time, in October, November, we hear the budget being announced, and the government ministers are announcing billions and billions and billions and billions of euro. It's euro here in Ireland, of course, going into the HSE, which to me is a bottomless pit. But where is the value for money? We're talking about overcrowding in hospitals. Has anybody done a check to see why people are actually in hospital? What is the cause of their hospitalization? I'm not saying that it's the answer to everything, but it certainly is the answer to some of it. Why is it taking 3 or 4 years to be seen to deal with a disease called obesity? Think of it this way. If 10 people, just 10 people, could be seen within 6 months and have a procedure done or get the medication done, I would suggest within that 12-month period, the HSE would be saving thousands upon thousands upon thousands of euros. And if you think of the number of people that are living with weight-associated illnesses, if we took a more proactive approach and actually dealt with the cause, think of the prevention coming down the line, where maybe our EDs wouldn't be full out the door. Maybe people wouldn't be languishing on trolleys in unsafe surroundings. Maybe we'd be making a difference into the psyche and the mental health of people. Because you know something, guys? It ain't nice to be living with weight. You get body shamed all the time. Give you an example. Somebody came to me, I'd say about 2 months ago. And now, I hadn't spoken to this person since my mum died. And you would normally think when somebody comes over here, they say, well, Dara, how are you getting on? How are you doing? How's life going for you? How are you coping without mum? Oh, no. This person said, Dara, glad to see you. I'm very worried about you. I said, okay. Do you know how fat you are? Do you really know how fat and unhealthy you look? I'm like, okay. Lovely to meet you too. If your mother was here, she'd say the same thing. You need to sort things out, or you'll be joining her before long. I said, well, do you know what? I really appreciate your kindness and your interest, and trust me, it is being looked into by my GP and medical team. But thank you so much, and have a great day. And I walked away. I won't say what I uttered under my breath, but I thought, who the hell are you to point the finger? If you're genuinely concerned, pick up the phone, But don't take it upon yourself to point the finger and say, well, this, that, and the other. To anybody who's listening to this, who's watching this, and is struggling with weight, I hear you. I know exactly what you're going through. And that's why I want to say to you, you're not alone. You'll never be alone. There are a lot of us out there. And the secret is we're not happy about it. But we got to make the best of a bad situation. And how do we change things? Well, I'm done with listening to politicians who are going to promise me the sun, moon, and stars. And I'm talking about politicians of all political backgrounds and none. I'm tired and fed up of dealing with a health system that is just so high-ended with management. It's not even funny. The people who should be leading the health system, they're the people on the ground that are providing health care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's another thing. The doctor in the NHS said last night that they can only provide weight management care 5 days a week from 9 to 5. What the hell happens for the rest of the week and on weekends? Do people not get sick on weekends? Our whole approach to healthcare in this country has to change. But again, I'd be at pains to say I am not blaming doctors and nurses or the amazing care assistants you come across, or the people who cook the meals, the people who clean the wards, the chaplains, the pastoral care team. They're absolutely brilliant. It's the people on top, the decision makers. They're the ones. The civil servants. Yeah, they're the ones. Government ministers, they come, they go. Civil servants, they stay. Managers, they stay. End result, a broken health system. So we can make positive change by lobbying our elected representatives and letting them know, unless we see positive change, you ain't getting a vote. And what I mean by that is you're not even getting a preference. So that's my rant over. So from this morbidly obese individual, to all of you out there, thank you for listening. If you feel that somebody out there could benefit from this, pass it on. Or if you want to leave a comment in the comment section below, please do. It's time to create a positive change, not the change we're hearing from political organisations. It's time to create positive change amongst each other in society and let people know, especially people who are struggling with their weight and with trying to fit in, let them know they're not alone and they are always welcome. So, from me, take care for now and have a good day.